Focus on Africa.
Hello, I am Peter Okwache. Welcome to Focus on Africa. Our top stories. Suicide in Kenya is shrouded in stigma. Up to 4 people take their lives daily, but one woman has spoken out about her struggle.
Suicide is a cry for help. There's no one who commits suicide that doesn't need help.
Angolan authorities say they have sufficient evidence that Jose Filomeno dos Santos, son of the former president, was involved in acts of corruption. The most controversial film in Kenyan cinema is packing out theaters, but time is running out to see it. Also in the program, the power of poetry. We meet the Sudanese artist encouraging others to express the challenges women face.
How when I'm weary of all the men catcalling my flesh and reaching for my body like it's a property does not anger me no more, but only makes me sick.
And in sport, not this time, as Mohamed Salah is beaten to the top prize for the FIFA Best Men's Player of the Year award. Thanks for joining us on Focus on Africa from BBC World News. According to Kenya's health ministry, up to 4 people take their lives every day. But despite its high prevalence in the country, suicide in Kenya is still shrouded in stigma, making it even more difficult for vulnerable people to access the care they need. In a society which still legally prosecutes those who attempt to take their own lives, one woman has bravely opened up to the BBC's Pauline Odhiambo about how she managed to overcome her darkest hour.
She's a happy mother, or so many of her friends think. But what they don't know is that Rosalind, a mother of 3, has tried to take her own life several times. This is something the 47-year-old did not want to share with anyone, including her teenage children, until now.
I have attempted to commit suicide in the past 4 times as a result of extreme depression. That's one of the challenges in a condition I have called bipolar. Initially, I've been very shy in sharing about the suicide attempts. I did not want to put myself out there to be judged.
Rosalind's battle with depression has been a 20-year-long struggle.
I've first started having the depressive episodes in 1997 after giving birth to my first child, and it was diagnosed as postnatal depression. I was hardly functional, couldn't get out of bed, having hallucinations, hearing voices telling me just end it, life will be easier. You'll make life easier for your family if you're not here.
In Kenya, over 1,400 people attempt taking their own lives every year. Rosalind and those in her support group we've spoken to tell us that those who attempt suicide still face backlash, and that there's still little understanding of why anyone would try to take their own life.
Apart from stigma, the situation is made more complicated by the legal barriers which hinder people from speaking up and accessing the relevant health care.
Rosalind credits people around her for helping her speak out.
My eldest is 20 years old, a girl, and then 2 boys just turned 18 and just turned 15. Right now, the 2 elder ones know that it's bipolar, then also knowing that, it's a genetic condition. Will one of them be predisposed to it? It's something that is on my mind.
According to the World Health Organization, most suicides occur in poor and middle-income countries, particularly in Africa, where huge gaps continue to exist in the healthcare systems and where resources required to treat and support those in need are still lacking. Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, Gambia, Malawi, Tanzania, Uganda, and Rwanda are among the African countries where attempted suicide is still considered a criminal offense. Health experts say laws on suicide must change to encourage communities to work together and help prevent it.
I know there are plans to decriminalize suicide, but it's a process because it takes a real process by the time you change the laws. But the fact that it's still a crime makes more people not access treatment.
Suicide is a cry for help. There's no one who commits suicide that doesn't need help. Criminalizing it defeats the whole hope of helping the person.
Rosalind has been able to get medical care and has a support group which encourages her. However, not many are as lucky. Rosalind and others in a situation, as well as campaigners trying to decriminalize suicide, feel that until communities' attitudes change towards people who attempt suicide, stigma and other legal persecution will continue to cause more harm. Paulino Diambo, BBC News, Nairobi.
And we'll be speaking to a clinical psychiatrist about this issue later on Focus on Africa. For now, let's take a